Boliau, good morning everybody. Thanks to the network for the opportunity to talk today and to share this best practice from North Wales, which we're immensely proud of. Boliau Bach, Tiny Tums is something that firstly started in Conway in 2008 by a very dear colleague, passionate dietitian Sean Jenkinson, who started off the work with local partners, and it then flourished and it grew to neighbouring counties of Denbighshire, Wrexham and Flintshire in 2010, and it's now fully operational in all of our 6 local authority areas. So the award was developed by and is managed by public health dietitians with the principal aim of recognising and rewarding early childcare settings for achieving best practice in relation to their food and drink provision, and specifically for 1 to 4-year-olds. The award's actually made following completion of staff training and rigorous assessment of menus based on what were the original Welsh Government guidelines, and obviously now we're moving on from those. Originally, it was also developed to inform and support the Care Inspectorate Wales, so formerly CSSIW, and to align with their quality assurance standards on nutrition. Training staff within early childcare settings forms a really important part of the process. However, we felt, even back then as a team, that in order to get a measurable impact on the provision, actual provision of food and drink that's provided in the settings, that we really needed to look at something, not just support the staff and ensure that their knowledge and skills were really brought up to scratch, but also that we were looking at the setting and rewarding them as well. So we then get a very supportive environment all round that promotes nutritional health and well-being. This work supports preventative action at Tier 1 of the All Wales Obesity Pathway, and it fits perfectly with the healthy settings theme that's outlined now in the Healthy Weight, Healthy Wales strategy, which has been launched, as we've heard. It also very much supports the oral health messages, and we work really closely with Design to Smile on this. And in fact, a number of members of their team in North Wales have actually come onto our accredited training in recent months to upskill their knowledge as well, which is fantastic. It also aligns really nicely with the First 1,000 Days collaborative work, and of course the 10 steps to a healthy weight, in particular supporting steps 8 and 10, which focus on promoting healthy drinks and giving fruit and vegetables every day. We also work very closely with our Healthy Sustainable Preschool scheme colleagues across the 6 local authority education departments. And settings that have achieved our Tiny Tums status automatically meet the standards specified within the nutritional and oral health domain. But I think what our award offers is just something additional for those settings that have gone the extra mile, that have really gone to town in meeting the guidelines. So a little bit about applying for the award. We ask that settings that want to take part nominate a minimum of 1 staff member to come on the training, ideally 2 though. They complete our Level 2 Accredited Community Food Nutrition Skills for the early years, which is a Nutrition Skills for Life accredited course. That's accredited through Agorad Cymru, and we deliver it with our local education partner, Adult Learning Wales. We encourage in particular attendance of staff that have a direct role in menu development or in the provision of food and drink in the setting. The accredited training enables staff to have sufficient knowledge and skills present to support implementation of the award, as well as promoting general healthy eating practices. So the course that we deliver is delivered over 3 full days. The final day of the accredited training provides information about the award and all the relevant documentation and support. Then settings are asked to submit detailed menus, so that's a minimum of a 3-week menu cycle. They complete a standards checklist, of which there's 32 standards, which have to be worked through via a sort of self-assessment. They sign them and then they return them to ourselves, alongside a copy of their healthy eating and food and drink policy. Those documents are then assessed by a public health dietitian and are quality assured via a second check with a fellow dietitian in the team. And if there are amendments needed, or if we need further information from the setting to clarify certain aspects of the standards, then we do have obviously communication with them, and they may need to resubmit their information prior to getting the award. It's seen as a very sort of supportive process though. We always provide very constructive, positive feedback to settings. And a lot of the contact that we have tends to be face-to-face, particularly for new settings. We do like to try and get out and meet them if we don't know them already, or it may be via phone or email. We have two separate checklists, one for settings that provide sort of meals and snacks, so cover the whole day, and then one's perhaps more suited towards play groups, so they just provide snacks and drinks. But all settings are assessed as I've just described. So after satisfying our standards and having had a minimum of one staff member trained, the award is made to the setting and they're issued with a certificate which lasts for 3 years. You can also see there an example of a little window sticker that we also use, and that's very similar to sort of the food hygiene rating stickers that you see in windows, and I think that's just another way of promoting the award if the setting's achieved it. So we really encourage them to display these and share their success with parents and children. Many of them do. Many of them put information into their newsletters, their prospectuses, highlight information for parents on open evenings, etc. Close to the end of their sort of tenure of the award, so towards the end of the 3 years, we offer them opportunities to access refresher training with us. And this ensures that staff and settings remain up to date with any relevant changes around nutrition. We aim to do this refresher training so that when they come in towards the end of their award, we ask them that within 18 months that they do come back to us and they access training, and we're in regular contact with them. It's really pleasing for us that quite a number of nurseries that we've been working with over the years, some of them are actually having re-accreditation for the 4th time. So we're seeing many of them remain committed to Tiny Tums and really valuing the work that they're putting in and the value that it has for their setting and the impact on the children. So a little bit about our reach. I've put this slide up, but I have to say it is just a snapshot and it changes week upon week. The percentages are very much based on the total number of settings that have Tiny Tums, divided by the total number of settings that are registered in that particular local authority area. So you can see, for example, at the moment we're up to 80% of all nurseries in Flintshire have Tiny Tums status, which is fantastic. The Conway figures might look quite low, but that's because a number are up for re-accreditation at the moment. Next month it could be back up again. So it's very much like this, but overall we're really thrilled with the amount of participation that we've built up over the years. In particular, in Anglesey, in recent years, we've had additional investment through the Healthy Sustainable Preschool Scheme. That's led to additional dietetic hours, which has meant we've had more opportunity to have contacts with settings. Prior to 2016, in that local authority area, only one had Tiny Tums status, so you can see we've made massive advances there. We've got some posters at the back as well if you want to look into that in more detail. And we've had a similar level of investment also in Wrexham in recent years also. We have found generally that the number of playgroups applying for the award typically seems to be lower than the full daycare sort of nursery settings. Often we find sometimes it's the challenge of providing only tooth-friendly drinks and snacks, which can be a bit of a barrier, but we've seen massive changes in that in recent years. And also how settings choose to celebrate birthdays can also be a bit of a challenge as well. So having the conversations about, birthday cake, etc., especially because they're only providing snacks and drinks. But we know that the new standards that Judith's outlined will very much support our efforts in this area. So as a team, we do a lot of work trying to promote the scheme, highlight the best practice and highlight the work that settings have put in. So we do quite a bit of media release work, highlighting the settings that have achieved the award, obviously with their consent. But also for us, what's really important is what the settings are saying about their involvement. And we've got oodles of quotes that talk about the many, many benefits that they see. So here you can see a quote from a nursery manager in Flintshire, highlighting how she feels strongly about children's diets personally and their role in growth and development, and that the new menu that they've been able to put together, that's been Tiny Tums approved, has really brought in those different colours and textures and helping children to explore all of those. We get also feedback through the settings from parents, and I think this is really nice. I like how the children have a range of adult meals to help them grow. It's moving away from that having to have special food for children. It's about building that sort of varied diet that the whole family can enjoy. And children as well, we get some feedback again through the cycle of what children are feeling about the menus. I went home today, I told my daddy that I had my favourite dinner today and it was special pasta. But we've got many more quotes, particularly from settings, talking about the value of putting menus on notice boards and how that's brought a lot of engagement with parents, that it's given them inspiration and knowledge to look at lots of different options for snacks, particularly for this age group, and actually being pleasantly surprised about the different foods that children will actually choose and enjoy. So next steps for us, particularly in relation to Tiny Tums. I think we're really pleased that we've been able to work alongside colleagues in Wales to sort of have a role in influencing the standards and have been aware of the developments that have been happening over recent months. And I think with the new standards now in play, we're in the process of re-looking at our Tiny Tums menu checklist, how we can ensure that it concurs. This year we'll be offering more refresher training across North Wales, and also we'll be writing to our settings, explaining how the standards fit with Tiny Tums status. But I think we feel very confident because we have been so comprehensive. So many of our settings are so well placed in relation to the new standards that we're quite far way along actually. As a dietetics team, we're incredibly small, we're tiny in fact, and Tiny Tums is just one programme that we are involved with. And it is quite resource intensive, but we consider it such a key priority for us, not least for all the sort of things that we've mentioned before about the 10 steps to a healthy weight, but also knowing that more children are likely to be accessing childcare with the childcare offer and various things that are now coming into play. It's even more important that we're focusing on this as a healthy setting for our children. We would like to focus on other areas. I mean, I've mentioned the award focuses on 1 to 4 year olds. We would like to look at under ones as well, but that's another resource in terms of time and capacity that we need to explore. And most definitely, we couldn't have achieved any of this without working alongside our colleagues in Healthy and Sustainable Preschools, Design to Smile, and Care Inspectorate Wales, and also sharing the practices we do with the Nutrition Skills for Life across Wales, because this is very much part of that. So diolch yn fawr, thank you very much. If you have any questions, I shall be around until about 2:30 today. Thank you.